Закончился семинар. Для тех, кто его посмотрел, я хочу подытожить то, что мы сегодня увидели. Ребята, дерзайте, старайтесь, верьте в себя, не верьте тем, кто говорит вам нет, что вы не можете. Если для вас это будет каким-то мотиватором, докажите тем, кто говорит, что вы не можете, что вы можете. Двигайтесь вперед, не пугайтесь поражений, не пугайтесь отказов и относитесь ко всему, что это просто еще один толчок к успеху, и это еще один повод для того, чтобы подняться, собраться с силами и двигаться вперед с новыми идеями, с новыми планами, с новыми успехами. Прислушивайтесь к своей интуиции тоже. Вот я, например, настолько чувствовала, что мне нужно сюда приехать. И теперь я чувствую, что я сделала настолько правильный выбор, не поленившись проснуться утром рано и поехать, попасть на вот этот семинар, потратить свое время, потратить свои деньги. Тоже не забывайте, чтобы что-то предпринять, что-то, чтобы получилось в жизни, нужно не побояться, не пожалеть, вложить. Иногда, может быть, вложить последнее, если вы продумали и поняли, что это правильное. Я думаю, что рисковать – это очень-очень важно в жизни. Для меня, я говорила это не в одном своем видео, что для меня самое страшное, когда я сижу и думаю, а что если бы, а вот вдруг бы получилось, а я бы смогла, а может быть, а если бы. Для меня вот это самое ужасное. Это для меня намного ужаснее, чем мысль, что я попробовала, это не получилось. Ничего, мне нужно научиться на этом примере и двигаться вперед.
What separates those superstars from everybody else? I came up with a simple formula and I tried to identify in every interview from that day forward, which is they take more hits than everybody else, but the only difference is they take less time feeling sorry for themselves. Not that they don't feel the pain, but they just are better at taking less time. It hit me one day, wait, superstars do well as entrepreneurs, and I started choosing salespeople. I just went right back to the zone I had made a living for 30 years and thought, would I hire them as a superstar? They have the traits of a superstar salesman. And guess what the #1 trait was? How they handled rejection. How they handled the downfall.
Всем привет, с вами Инна Гонка. Сегодня я хочу поделиться с вами интересным событием, которое происходит в Thousand Oaks. Я приехала сюда на семинар и встречаюсь с очень известной женщиной, которая для меня всегда являлась большим примером финансового успеха, который может достичь женщина. И, в принципе, семинар посвящен тому, как зарабатывать деньги, как правильно вкладывать деньги. И если кому-то это интересно, пожалуйста, присоединяйтесь к этому видео. Это видео будет на английском языке. Переводить его не смогу. Поэтому, если кто-то понимает английский, это видео для вас. Очень интересный семинар. Выступали два очень интересных и толковых бизнесмена. И я очень рада, что могу поделиться вот этими секретами, вот этими знаниями с моими подписчиками. Надеюсь, что кому-то это поможет оценить ситуацию не только в бизнесе, но и в личной жизни, что иногда нужно принимать решения быстро и не бояться принимать рискованные решения. В общем, подключайтесь, если вам это интересно.
People ask me all the time, is there a secret to making money on Wall Street consistently? And I used to say no. But after doing all the research that I did, there is one secret, and one secret only. and that is understanding and managing risk. It was the first thing I learned from the oldest trader on our trading desk back in the mid-90s. He said, Jeff, if you want to be in this game for 20, 30, 40 years, all you have to do is one thing and one thing only. If you take care of the downside, the upside will take care of itself. If you take care of the downside, the upside will take care of itself. Now, the beautiful part about understanding and managing risk is it can be taught and it can be learned. But it's a byproduct of something much greater. So when I was doing all that research, all my failures and all my successes, and all your failures and all your successes come down to 4 simple factors. These factors are so darn simple, yet they're so freaking effective. Number 1, education. And I'm not talking about the Harvard-Yale education because that's all bullshit. Because let me explain something to you folks. Your investments and you invest in, it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care whether you have a PhD from Harvard or you didn't graduate high school. It doesn't care about your skin color. It doesn't care about your religious background. And it sure heck doesn't give a hootenanny whether you grew up with money or you are in welfare your entire life. The type of education I'm talking about is I have a goal I want to accomplish. I need specific education to accomplish that goal. I love playing golf. I want to learn how to hit a golf ball 275 yards. I need specific education to do it. I want to learn how to putt so I can beat the CEO of this company. I get specific education to learn how to become a great putter. 2, having the right team and support system around you. When I think about this, when I think about all the money I had deployed, I didn't have the right accountants, I didn't have the right lawyers. I had so many freaking yes people around me and not enough people challenging me on what I was doing. I didn't have a hotline where I could call Barbara Corcoran and say, hey, can you take a look at these real estate projects I'm doing in Greenwich? And guess what, folks? I hate to break this news to you. Sometimes you have to pay for it. In business, or when you're trying to make ends meet, things are tough. You have to cut corners. But you can't cut corners on having a great team around you to help you protect and succeed. Now, support system, that is something I've always had. And think about this. If no one is willing to invest in you, you have to invest in yourself. And if no one believes in you, believe in yourself, because the only person you have when you hit rock bottom is yourself. Knowledge. Number 2, the right support system and team around you. Number 3, the right tools and resources and knowing how to use them. And I can't teach you, and hopefully I've inspired you a little bit. And I know my colleague Steve Sikowski can inspire you, and I definitely know when you hear Barbara speak, she's going to inspire you. And this is understanding your desire and your why. There is a reason why all of you showed up today at 10 a.m. There is either something going on in your life that you want to make better. There's something going on in your business. You're looking for that edge to take you to the next level. Understanding your desire and your why is going to make you get through those tough times. Because let me tell you something. Making money in the market, taking control of your finances, especially when you don't have enough of it, it's hard. It's not easy. But understanding your desire and why makes it bearable. It makes you get through those tough times. And this is another thing. You can't do it for anybody else but yourself. I used to say I'm going to do it for my 3 daughters and my son. But guess what? One day, one of those daughters or my son is going to disappoint me. And I'm not going to give up on my goals and my dreams just because someone else disappointed me. And either should you. So, let me ask you this. I want you to think about this not only in the context of your finances. Everything that you've tried to accomplish in your past, and everything that you are trying to accomplish right now. And think about this and imagine this. If you had the right education, that specific education, you had the right team and support system around you, you had the right tools and resources and you knew how to use them, and you understood your desire and why, how much more successful would you have been? And how much more successful will you be? Folks, right there, those 4 factors is what took me from rock bottom to where I am today. They have changed the way I do everything in my life and everything in my business. And they can do it for you also. You just have to believe and try it. If not now, then when?
Good morning. That trade for a month ended up making 32%. Now let me ask you, what else can you do to make 32% in a month legally? I'm aware I'm in California, but right, you sort of get the gist of this. What company is that? Yeah, Tesla. I don't know what you know about Tesla. In the last 12 months or so, they managed to lose about $1 billion. And you may have seen where their chairman, Elon Musk, thought it would be a good idea to shoot a car off into space. I'm still trying to figure out if that guy's a genius or a nut job. But when I saw that behavior at the same time that their production was falling behind on the Model 3, I basically took a bet that the price of Tesla stock would drop. One of the things that's unique in the approach that I teach and that Jeff teaches, we can make money going either direction. When that stock did drop, I ended up making 106% in 29 days. So if you had put $10,000 into that trade, you'd have pulled out $21,000. We call that a good day. I've had a lot of good days. I've watched our students have good days. This is a company I would not expect you to know. This is China's version of Netflix. So 45%. By the way, how many of you in here watch Netflix? You have a Netflix account? I don't know the name of this business. And you might think, why would you own stock in a company you don't even know the name? Because I saw that Warren Buffett bought millions of shares. So I have certain rules that I live my life by. One of them is, I call it, good enough for Warren, good enough for Steven, right? What do you suppose green means? Yeah, those are winning trades, and the red ones are losers. And I'm really showing this because I want you to see that we have losing trades. We're very transparent as a company. You're willing to do to get there something like that. And therein lies the great disconnect. So when I'm teaching one of our 3-day classes, one of the first things I try to do is align what people say they want with what they're doing. I mean, what I hear is, I want to be financially independent, financially secure. I want to do what wealthy people do. And I can already hear some of you thinking, but I don't know what wealthy people do. I do. So today we're going to talk about how do the wealthy invest their money, grow it, how do they protect it, and ultimately how do we convert it into passive income? Because that's the name of the game. You want there to come a day in your life when if you chose to, you could just sit back and just live off of what's coming in. So that's our conversation. I'll be with him next week, as a matter of fact. And control. They work for other people and inflictive interest. Wealthy people are growing their money at 15% or more. Broke people typically 3% or less. Those of you who are in the market, I'm scared to death for you. Let me tell you why. Because I know more than 50% of you missed it. Your money was sitting in a bank doing long-term passive income and long-term wealth building. So my dad lives off of his passive income. Do one thing in life is how you do everything. People who end up with serious money take the subject of money seriously. So you can either kind of sit back and treat this as entertainment, or you can engage, pay attention, take good notes. The difference in what you'll get out of it will be exponential. All right, ready to go? Let's do this. Let me start with how we pick a stock. We begin with what are called the fundamentals. Next to the fundamental per year. Next, we have revenue. Revenue is a top line number. This is sales. We only invest in companies growing their sales at least 7% per year. 7%. Then we've got dividends. I only invest in dividend-paying stocks. Why? If you look back since 1900, 70% of all the profit in the stock market has resulted from dividends. Not only must the company pay a dividend, I need to see a history where they increase the dividend on insiders. Who are the insiders? Key executives within a company, people who sit on the board of directors, big institutional investors. Can we all agree that these insiders know things you and I don't know? Right? So when you see the insiders buying up more stock, what do you think we ought to do? Yeah, we buy. What do we do when we see them selling their stock? How do we think about selling? Next to technicals, write the word chart. Chart. You've got to learn how to read a chart. What does a chart tell us? It tells us what direction this stock is likely to go next. Now, when you look at a chart, I'm going to show you a few. There's a number of different indicators. I'm going to start you with something pretty basic. It's called a moving average. I'm going to give you two numbers for your notes. You ready? First number, 15-day, 1-5. Second number, 50-day, 5-0. So we have 15 and 50. And let me show these to you on an old chart on Apple. So you can see we got two lines up here. There's a blue line and a red line. Blue line is a 15-day moving average, red line is the 50-day. Right where these two numbers cross, you'll see the green, and that is the beginning of a wave, right? So like a California surfer, we're gonna ride that wave until the wave collapses. When the wave collapses, then we get out, take profits. In this case, about 65%, 3 months. Then we wait for the next wave. There's always another wave coming. We jump back in, and then we ride it until the wave collapses. We get out, there's another 20%. And then you avoid this whole big drop. You're dating them. You understand the difference? Here's my definition of dating. I call it until something better comes along, right? I mean, if we're gonna be real, that's what dating is. Yeah, I'll hang with you until something better comes on. Same thing with my stocks. So normally I will only own 5 stocks at a time. And I know the stocks that I own today I'm not gonna own in 5 years because the market will have shifted. Better companies will have come along. Some of these will become older and mature and start to lag in their growth rates. So this is the way we teach people to build a portfolio. It's what Jeff does, it's what Kevin O'Leary does, it's what I do. Now you might be sitting there going, okay, all that sounds great, but here's my problem. I don't have the money to go build a stock portfolio. Leverage mean? Leverage means a 1% move in the price of a stock can result in a 10 to 20% move in the value of an option. And there are stocks every day that move 1%. That's a 10 to 20% potential profit for the day. Next, they are bidirectional. What does that mean? It means there are options where you make money when a stock goes up. There are options where you make money when a stock goes down. Those of you who own stocks and mutual funds, you only make money if your prices go up. For me, I don't care if a stock goes up or down. I just want it to move because we can capture profits going both directions. Then liquidity. And this goes back to that whole issue of control. Wealthy people want access to their money. We don't like our money tied up in places where we can't get to it. I have people all the time say to me, you know, I'm asset rich and I'm cash poor, and I tell them, then you're a moron, right? How the hell did you ever get asset rich? With an option, we can convert it to cash in 1 day. With a stock, we can convert it to cash in 2 days. You can write checks against your account. You can wire money in. You can wire money out. You can use a debit card, right? Tell you a quick story. So I'm teaching one of my 3-day classes. A fella comes up to me on break and he said, hey, I own a lot of Apple stock. Awesome, you made a lot of money. He goes, I really have. He said, but I'm starting to get nervous. Why do you get nervous? He goes, well, I think the market's gonna correct. I said, the market is gonna correct. He goes, yeah, I'm starting to freak out. I'm like, well, if you're so freaked out, why don't you just sell your stock? I can't do that. Why? Well, if I sell now and Apple goes to 150, I would just hate myself. He said, no. I said, it's called a put option. I said, why don't you just go buy a 110 strike put? So if Apple were to go to 150, you could sell it for 150. But if Apple in fact did drop to 70, you could cash in your put, get $110 a share. Now you have unlimited profit potential, limited downside risk. Now you may not have understood all that, but how many of you like how it sounds? So that's the way I structure everything. Unlimited profit, 2 types. First type of an option is known as a call option. A call option gives us the right to buy a stock. We buy call options on stocks we think are going higher. Going higher, we buy a call. The other type of an option I mentioned is called a put option. A put option gives us the right to sell a stock. We buy put options on stocks we think are going lower. We buy put options on stocks going lower. So going higher, we buy calls. Going lower, we buy puts. So let me show you an actual trade. This was a trade that was found by a buddy of mine, Fred Mansfield. Fred and I have worked together. $4 a share. Or we could buy options. Look at Disney. Or we could buy options on Disney stock. They were at 93 cents. per share. Now, a couple of things. When you buy a stock, I always recommend you do it in what are called round blocks. Those are blocks of 100. So 100 shares of a $94 stock, how much money would that take? $9,400, which some of you have and some of you don't, right? What do you do if you don't have $9,400? Then you buy the call options. Options trade in contracts. Each contract controls 100 shares. So 100 shares at 93 cents a share, that's $93. Can y'all do $93? Right, makes it a lot more palatable. Okay, Disney did exactly what we thought. Let's say at the time you're looking at the trade, you had $1,000 to put in. And you're trying to figure out, should I buy the stock? Should I buy the options? Let's do a comparison. With $1,000, you have enough money to purchase 10 shares of stock. 94 times 10 is $940. For the same amount of money, you could have bought 10 call options. Remember, each contract controls 100 shares. So here's the question. If you think Disney's going higher, would you rather own 10 shares of stock or control 1,000? Which one? 1,000. All right, let's do the math. Here's the good news. If instead of taking that money and buying stock, you went out and bought options, you wouldn't have made $70. You'd have made $2,820. Now, for those of you kind of slow, we call that better. Pick that one thing about the stock market. Well, I had a feeling it would go up, so I did this. Here's the deal. Everything you need to know is on the chart. So let me just hand you something that I normally say for the 3-day class. If you want to write this down, feel free. Trade what you see, not what you think. Trade what you see, not what you think. So you got to get good at reading a chart. We teach people how to do that. Very simple, very straightforward. We start by identifying a high quality stock. I'm going to show you on the software how we pick those out. The idea is on a monthly basis, we're going to sell somebody the right to buy this stock from us. And in exchange for that right, they give us money. So it is an income strategy, but more than that, for those of you who are conservative, it is a way to reduce your cost basis, which means reduce your risk. That's why I picked this for my father. So for those of you that are pretty conservative, you're going to love this. I'm going to give you a case study from one of my 3-day classes. I let the class pick the stock. They chose Microsoft. I have a covered call on Microsoft right now. So at the time, Microsoft was trading for $73.40 a share. So then I pulled up an options chain. And I found out that we could sell call options against our stock and pick up $1.40 per share per month. Plus, Microsoft pays a dividend. So when you take what you get from selling the calls and add it to the dividend, it produces a nice little return of 25% a year. Listen to this, on a stock that doesn't have to go up 1 penny. And I wonder what your broker's making you in your accounts, or what your bank is making you in your accounts. And why aren't brokers doing this for their clients? And here's the answer. It takes a little extra work. It's easier just to sell you into a mutual fund. Now, I don't know if the 25% impresses you much, but if you know anything about the rule of 72, for growing earnings, growing revenue, growing dividends, where the insiders are buying, I'm going to show you how to find those. Once you own a stock, you can buy protection in the form of a put option, cover your downside. Once you own a stock, you can sell call options against it, use it to create monthly income. What if you don't have enough money to buy a stock? Where would I start you? Options, very good. So on stocks going higher, what common option do you buy? That'd be a call option. You remember that IQ trade? That was a call option. Netflix, that was a call option. On stocks going lower, what common option do we buy? Put options. That's how I made money on Tesla when it went down. Now I realize I've just covered the basics. Let me ask you, how many of you have learned at least one new thing that's of value? Awesome. More than anything, I want you to see the opportunity. In about 10 minutes, it'll blow your socks off. You will be so thrilled and excited. But those of you that come to a class, you'll have access to the software. After class, if you want to keep using it, It's a whopping $29.95 a month. There are no long-term contracts. Use it as you want. When you don't use it, you turn it off, and that's fine. First, I'm going to show you how I use the software to evaluate a stock. So it looks at a stock based on 4 criteria. The first one are the fundamentals, so those are the numbers. Then we have the technicals, that's the chart. The inner circle, those are the institutions and the insiders. And then valuation, which is kind of a model used by people like Warren Buffett. And basically it tells us if the price of a stock is overpriced, underpriced, etc. So it's a really nice thing to be able to have. So you'll see that it's color-coded. Green means good, red means bad, yellow means so-so. Because of this, I can literally evaluate a stock in like 60 seconds, and I'm going to show it to you live. I think you'll like this. Somebody give me the name of a company the average person's heard of. Starbucks, okay. Speaking of places where people could probably save money. All right. Just saying. So, as we look at the chart on Starbucks, we see 6 months ago it was around 52, and now it's at 71. Going great, right? When I look at a chart that's kind of a slow, steady climb like that, first thing I think of, by the way, is covered call. Let me look at the numbers without owning a put option. Their sales are slowing. I think the only places you can put a Starbucks anymore is inside of an existing Starbucks, right? They've got a bunch of them in Southern California. You got to have a couple of dozen scans to help us identify trades. And I'm just going to do something real simple. What if I just wanted to find companies right now that were all green across the board? And it gives me a list. There might be some call opportunities. What if I wanted to find stocks that were all red? So these are the bad ones. Might be some put opportunities. What if I was looking for companies that had earnings announcements that were going to be coming out, say, in the next couple of weeks? There's the list, because I know with earnings, the stock moves a bunch. And we know how to play both sides of that trade. What if I wanted to see what the big institutions were doing? So it gives me a list on the left-hand side of the 25 biggest institutions, shows me what they own, shows me what they're adding, shows me what they're selling. Why do I care about what institutions are doing? Institutions are what move the market. It is not you and I. It's the people that count. Either a real account and or a virtual trading account. So I'm going to talk to you about doing some practice trades. So it's like learning how to fly an airplane on a simulator. You're not risking any real money until you know that you know what you're doing. You like the way that software looks? I've been using it now. Most of our option trades are anywhere from a week to a month. So this was Steve Wynn's old company. This is a chart showing us momentum. And if you come to class, we'll teach you how to read the chart. There are 3 indicators. The top one, that blue line, is a moving average. Middle one is a MACD. Bottom one is a stochastic. If you got really good eyeballs, you might be able to see there's little darts of either red or green. Green means likely to go higher, red means likely to go lower. So right here, circled in yellow, there's a green dart. And then we saw on the indicator above another green dart and then another green dart. What direction is this stock likely to go? Up, right? What kind of an option would we buy? Call, good for you. This is the trading platform. On the left-hand side, we have the calls. On the right-hand side, we have the puts. You may be able to see the number 10. That stands for 10 contracts. Had you bought 10 call options on Win, your profit could have been $16,290. And in one moment, life changes for you. Bought Whole Foods. And I looked at that, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be scaring everybody in retail. So when I pulled up the chart, here's what I saw. Red, red, and red. What direction is this stock going to go? It's going down. See how intuitive all of this is? What kind of an option do we buy? We buy a put option. Great. So again, 10 contracts would have produced a little profit of $7,100. Are you starting to figure out there's a world that exists, nobody told you about it? Not in school, your broker didn't tell you. Here's this little chart. I actually did this for high school kids. And by accident once, I showed it to a group of adults and they loved it, so I'll show it to you. The power of compounding. If you took $10,000 and stuck it in an account that averaged, say, 3%, and you left it there for 30 years, you would end up with enough money to retire for about 4 months. If you had the skills to make, say, 8%, right, instead of 24,000, you have 100,000, but that doesn't get it done. But once you hit 15%, things start to shift, right? 15% on 662,000, that's like $100,000 for the year. That's a reasonable retirement. You're not going to live in the best place in Southern California, but a good place, a safe place, and maybe you've got to start with. It's about developing wealth habits, right? Sets to make that money grow, and then the discipline to allow it to compound. This is how wealthy people become wealthy, 100% of the time. One of my favorite quotes from Kevin O'Leary, he says, I want to go to bed richer than when I woke up. Me too, today, for me, and then I'm going to start to wrap up for you. I'm going to take you back to 2008. In 2008 was the last year that we had a market correction. The market dropped 44% in 3 months. Bang. But what if you'd have known what you were doing? Instead of losing a bunch of money, you could have gone out there and started buying put options. $10,000 in put options before the correction would have been worth $100,000 to $200,000, thereabout after. And at that point, stock prices were cheap. What if you simply took that money and bought blue chip stocks and did nothing since the end of 2008? Can we all agree you'd probably have all the money you would need to live out the rest of your life? So why am I taking you back to 2008? Listen carefully. Everything I saw happening then, it's happening right now. Market had gone up 8 years in a row, just like now. Fed raising interest rates, just like now. Real estate prices peaking, just like now. Here's the point. I've read this book before. I've seen the movie. It comes out every 7 to 10 years. It's like Gone with the Wind, and it always ends the same way. People who know what they're doing make a fortune. People who don't get run over. You got to decide. What are you in jobs? I used to have people that would invest the money and not show them. When we started doing this, guess what? They started showing. The relationship goes, and oh, by the way, if it's okay with you, you keep 100% of all the profits in your account. So here's what I would dare say. This will be the only time in your life where you will get an opportunity to be able to get this kind of education, support from this amazing company, and be able to make that free. The only thing that's going to stand between you and success is what? Is you. Let me tell you how people make decisions. Well, an 1,100 square foot house for most of my life. My mom and dad shared a car. So at 19, I don't know where the guts came from, but most successful people have spending money I didn't have.
Сейчас перерыв перед тем, как начнется вторая часть. Я просто использую эту возможность сказать еще раз тем, кто смотрит это видео, что приехав сюда, в новое место, начать свою иммиграцию практически сначала было нелегко. Поэтому я начинаю теперь как бы впитывать в себя как губка все очень быстрыми темпами. Я пользуюсь каждым случаем, чтобы чему-то научиться, чего-то новое узнать, с кем-то новым познакомиться. И, может быть, даже жалею, что я этого раньше не делала, потому что... Или нет, не то, что я раньше этого не делала, делала раньше не с таким как бы напором, не с такими большими усилиями, не с таким желанием, чтобы достичь чего-то быстрее, 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 откладывать некогда. Я очень жалею, что действительно не делала это с такими темпами раньше, потому что чем раньше ты начнешь в жизни понимать, что нужно брать быка за рога сегодня, тем быстрее ты достигнешь успеха.
We love her business mind. She's a business mogul. She's an author. She's a commentator on major networks. We love the relationship and friendship that we have with Barbara. I'm going to show a quick video to give her an awesome introduction. When the video is done, I need you guys up out of your seats. Can you give Barbara some energy? Yes? Fantastic. Fantastic. She's here. Let's get this party started. Barbara Corcoran is up next.
For $66 million. And now let me tell you the best thing that separates those superstars from everybody else. I came up with a simple formula and I tried to identify in every interview from that day forward, which is they take more hits than everybody else, but the only difference is they take less time feeling sorry for themselves. Not that they don't feel the pain, but they just are better at taking less time. It's almost like they have a lower IQ, my best salespeople. Yeah, because it's true. Because if somebody smashes you on the head with a 2x4, the intelligent thing to do is lay low and see if it's going to clear, right? No. This is like, hit me again. And what an interesting thing is, for the first 2 years on Shark Tank, I pissed away so much money in the wrong entrepreneurs because I was evaluating the businesses. That makes sense. What do I know about business other than real estate? Nothing. I had no business being there, really. But I started looking at people, and then it hit me one day, wait, superstars do well as entrepreneurs. And I started choosing salespeople. I just went right back to the zone I had made a living for 30 years and thought, would I hire them as a superstar? They have the traits of a superstar salesman. And guess what the #1 trait was? How they handled rejection. And today I've invested in 76 businesses, or maybe 78 if it closed. The 2 closed yesterday, I hope they did. But I've closed on 70 some odd businesses, and I can tell you the superstar businesses among them, which is roughly 12 businesses that are making a ton of money, doing well, multiplying out on themselves day in and day out, are all great salespeople who are great at rejection. So they might have this quality, that quality, it's a mixed bag, but in the end, anyone who doesn't have it doesn't succeed. In fact, I've made a science out of it. Once something goes wrong after Shark Tank, after you have the big sales and something goes wrong, which always happens within 6 months, I listen really hard to those people I invest in, because I'm deciding if I'm ever going to spend any more time with them. And you know what I'm listening for? How they handle the downfall. The minute they start blaming somebody else, I couldn't help it. You know, the guy promised me that. The minute their head goes that way, I go over to the pictures on my walls. I have all of the investments, beautifully matted, smiling faces that I put money in, and I go over and I turn them upside down. And why did I do that? Seriously, because I get names confused. And I want to remember when they call. Are they upside down, the right side up? This is my style? Okay. Mark, I understand you've asked another girl to dance instead of me. I appreciate being reserved as a fallback, but that was a lie. You don't want to be a fallback. It's like being the ugly sister. Okay, I do my best when my back is against the wall. I've had all my biggest successes on the heels of rejection. When Sister Stella Marie told me I'd always be stupid, she was wrong, not stupid. When the old boy network said I could never compete with them, I became their largest rival. When the Donald himself refused to pay me a penny of the $5 million commission he owed me, I collected every penny from him. I consider your rejection. I know I'm free to say that. I'm in California. From New York, we got it. We have kinship there? Okay. I think you should consider inviting both ladies out to LA to compete for the one lone female seat. I consider this a lucky charm. I booked my flight on the 6th, which I did, and I hope to be out there. And what do you think happened? I got on Shark Tank. It's been 10 years on Shark Tank. All those people that are my partners, the good ones and even the bad, not photoshopped at all.
Let's give it up for the magnificent Barbara Corcoran! Let's give it up one more time for Barbara. Thank you so much for being here.
Не забудьте, пожалуйста, поставить лайк, если вам понравилось это видео. И не забудьте подписаться на мой канал или на мою инстаграму, если вы на них еще не подписаны. Всех целую, всех люблю. С вами была, очень смелая, сумасшедшая иногда даже, Инна Гонка.